Hello and welcome to another episode of DCU Daily, and we are back. It's a new week, and there's a lot more going on in Cleveland, and that's right, the Superman movie is giving us lots more behind-the-scenes look, and we've got a dog on set, so we're gonna dive into figuring out whether that's crypto or not. And well, there's a lot more than that even because in the world of DC animation, we finally have a release date for Kite Man. Hell yeah, we're going to get into that. There's also some rumors around the Batman, so we're going to try to address that as well. And we've got a fan comment, as we always do, to talk about. So there's a lot to get through on today's show. And as always, with me today, we've got John. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine and dandy. We got so much stuff, so I just want to get into it. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Hell yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah. Okay. Kite Man. Hell yeah. Although that's later. So first Superman.
Yes. Yeah. No, hey, all right, cool. So let's dive into it. We're gonna start off with the a picture of this little doggo. It seems like they've got a trainer there on set. Uh
In a fanny pack, very nice.
fanny
Old school,
pack, yeah,
very 90s.
fanny packs are coming back in style. So as the graphic says at the bottom, more set photos from Superman and Krypto. I mean, that's the question. Is Krypto in Cleveland today? What's going on, John? What do you think about this?
I don't think that's Krypto. It would be funny if it was, just to watch people lose their collector shit. I think this is from because we were talking about this sometime last week. I forget which day. Everything kind of blended together.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a scene where a pet store gets like collateral damage, like the window breaks, all that shit.
Yep.
And then there was another scene with Mr. Terrific with dog biscuits. So
you're right.
Logistical sort of thing. I know everyone saw the picture of Mr. Terrific. They're like, oh, it's Krypto, but it's like, I don't think so. I think it's a scene to again, James Gunn loves to tease. So I think it's just, a bunch of dogs got free and are running around, and Mr. Terrific is doing like dog cleanup work, and then maybe there was one that escaped, and now he's like with Superman, like Superman's trying to save the dog. So and then maybe like he like jokingly is like, oh, I should name you Krypto or something like that. I can imagine them doing that. And then just him going either back to the pet store or even Superman adopts him, because you know what? Give Superman a dog. That's always a good thing, right? So that's what Troy Oboyo said. So give him a dog.
I'm into it.
But if you don't want to, then he goes back, and then it's just like a cute little thing.
Yeah. Well, okay, so there's a lot more pictures than just that, of course. You've got this, dog in other pictures as well. Here's a lot of crowd. I mean, there's a lot of people in what looks like a crowd and in the middle of Metropolis looking up at something and then scrambling. Yeah, and we have a video we can show about this as well. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. But I mean, these are just the pictures. You can clearly tell. I mean, obviously, everybody's got smartphones. So I know there was a rumor going
Even
about.
Granny in the middle there has her fucking like Nokia out trying to fucking take a picture. Like, at least that's what it looks like from here. I mean, it could be like an actual like
Nokia.
And then,
or she pulls out like a Motorola Razor and just like.
Oh my god! No.
Can you imagine? But
hilarious.
I mean, there's that guy with the DSLR camera too. He's just like I'm gonna get a really high res picture of this. Maybe he works for the Daily Planet. Who knows? But I mean, all in all, you could tell that before we get to that Superman picture, like something is going on, and people, initially are intrigued, and then they start scrambling. So. And then when we go to the video, I think we can really dive into maybe and speculating what it might be, because you can kind of tell what Superman is doing while all this is happening. Speaking of which, there's Superman. Here's our doggo. And of course, there's a big shadow hanging above Superman here, and you got a camera operator there. So one thing I am curious about is there's a bunch of water here in this middle like circle area, and then the rest. It's not like it's wet everywhere else. I mean, and it's been a pretty like hot week. It's not like they would have left water on set if they didn't want it in the camera, right? So it's obviously intentional. So
Yeah, I
I'm
think they're in the
wondering,
middle of
like,
like a fountain, like a so you
yeah.
could see back or you could see up a little bit. You could see like little spurts of water.
Oh, that's
I
right.
think they're
Okay,
in
so that is
like kind of like a park. You know how like sometimes they have like in public they have like little
yeah,
sprinklers that's like kind of like an art display, but you can like go through
yeah.
it. So like I think this is like kind of like a park slash fountain slash like maybe art thing here where it's just like, oh, it's just this giant flat sort of like fountain area because you
Yeah,
can see the
yeah,
little individual ones in the
right.
fountain over there. So that's what I think this is. I will say David Corenswet, even if I know he's a good hero, but like he's looking like a good villain there too. Like with the black coat,
Just with the
he's
black suit,
looking
yeah.
fucking badass. Like he could be Batman right there, not gonna lie. But
Uh-huh.
he's chilling like a villain right
Yeah.
there, and he looks fucking cool as shit, not gonna lie. But yeah, I also like how the guy holding it up, ironically, also is dressed like Superman. I feel like that's kind of like whether it
Except
definitely
he's
unintentional, but like
yeah,
it's
he's got no pants
unique.
under his underoos, because it's hot outside. But I mean, that could be a stunt coordinator or as anybody else who's maybe just holding it in place to kind of distribute the weight because clearly you've got two people there holding it in place. I mean, I'm sure it's light, whatever this prop is. It's not actually heavy, or it's just heavy enough maybe to kind of get the flex that pose that they need from Superman.
Yeah,
You can clearly tell though here, like it's when they start shooting, it must be something where like Superman goes and catches something falling, and the
yeah,
dog is just happens to be there and be like, oh, like Superman's literally saving a dog, which looks cool as hell. I mean, and you
yeah.
can tell here they're filming this. This might be like from a wider angle because there's no camera operator nearby. What do you think this prop is that they're got here? Like, because it looks like it's something bigger. Because clearly you're not gonna see those two guys
I'm
in the
gonna
shot in the movie.
say this, and I think people would be upset because they've done this type of thing multiple times in multiple Superman movies. Maybe it's just a tradition at this point, but
There's the money shot
considering,
right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
considering what the people are looking at, considering what we've seen before with the Daily Planet crew coming out of whatever it is, and this scene, I think we're gonna have another plane crash sequence. It was in Superman
Okay.
Returns. I think it was also in I think I think yeah, it was in
Supergirl.
Supergirl,
Supergirl
which
did it in like
it
first
was
episode.
not technically a Superman thing, but Superman was in the scene.
He was.
So then I think Smallville might have done one. I know. I think Christopher Reeve might have done it in one of his. I think it was a spaceship though.
Right.
But like, I feel like
Well,
there's always
also
like a
like
weird
Henry
tradition with
Cavill does it with like a rocket, like
yeah,
a
with a rocket.
Roscosmos
Yeah,
rocket
not
in
a
that like
plane,
montage.
but yeah, it still
Yeah.
works. But
Yeah.
I think we might be getting it. Just kind of makes sense because like him trying to catch it, it might be a plane crash sequence, or like maybe it is like something of Mr. Terrific's like his like machine and like his like ship and it like goes off course or like maybe it screws up, maybe something happens within the context of the movie and we kind of get that scene. But like with I just think it's like we were talking about like it would be interesting to see like the Daily Planet crew coming out of like a Mr. Terrific like spaceship kind of thing,
Yeah.
but it would make more sense that all of them are like on an airplane because there was like a major story somewhere, or they're like flying back from somewhere, like they're flying to like their headquarters, whatever. Maybe it's a private jet.
Right.
And they're, coming back, and then like all this happens. Maybe they have the classic scene of like, what was that in Superman the animated series where they're like, hey, they're like, hey, who are you? I'm like, Lois Lane. She's like, oh, Lois Lane, you mean the one that Superman always saves? Afraid so. And then like Superman comes in. I could definitely see them doing that. Like, and then
Yeah.
it just all the Daily Planet people are on this plane, and the Superman has to save it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me.
I
That wouldn't
mean,
shock
yeah.
me. So, but like,
You know,
I would prefer them
yeah.
coming out of Mister Terrific's like T ship, whatever he would call it,
Yeah.
the terrific mobile, whatever the
The
hell it is.
terrific mobile. That's the
Um,
name. That's it right there. That's gotta be it.
yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do a plane crash because it's a very fairly easy action sequence to like have Superman do, kind of set the world of like, okay, plane crashing, it happens sometimes, even though it is the safest way to travel. So he saves it, and boom, oh my god, look, it's like that could be like a cold open type of thing, where it's like he saves like a plane, and then like smash cut Superman, and then the credits and all that.
Yeah.
So like that could be fun, but whatever it is, I think it's just like with people looking up at it, like what would they be looking up at? Like what else would be falling from the sky? Maybe another spaceship, but like I feel like the fact that we haven't gotten an alien threat like Brainiac or something like that, I feel like that doesn't make sense. So like a plane would make, or a plane or a helicopter would like
Yeah. And
crashing and then
and
having
you know
that.
what? Like ultimate, yeah, that would be perfect. I mean, I think, and because whatever this thing is that they're holding up, clearly, like the supports, the beams are just there, so the guys can hold this up, and the rest of it is just. I mean, most of that is going to get replaced, but you get the money shot, you get the pose, you get the flex. I mean, I would kill to see what that shot looks like from the other side, where probably they're shooting up close, or like you want to see Superman like it's that Captain America shot, right? Like when he's
Mhm.
pulling the chopper closer, and what was that? I think it was Civil War, maybe.
No, it was.
Um,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah,
Just
the shot, but
like,
it's just the flex. Anyway, but there's also speaking of this photo, this was the money shot of the day, by the way. Like there's other photos to get through, and we have a lot to dive into, of course, but there were concerns from fans, of course, asking like, "Hey, have you just kind of irrevocably just spoiled this movie when you've got stuff like this happening?"
it's like
Um,
James Gunn's like, you think this is my first fucking rodeo? I've made 3 fucking Guardians movies. Get that the fuck out of here. It's like, come on. What do you think
come
this
on,
is?
yeah.
He's
I
like,
mean,
come on,
look, in that,
really?
yeah,
He
it's
lets us
it,
see what we want to see, all right? He knows the
exactly,
paparazzi, he knows the fans, he knows the photographers, he knows all this shit. This is, I know, like, although to be fair, Guardians of the Galaxy was pretty much, all 3 of those are pretty much shot on sound stages because they all take place in space. So he didn't have to like worry about that, but now
yeah,
he's like, because the last one, I mean, not saying that there weren't, like, there were a couple scenes, but nothing that would cause like paparazzi level of
yeah.
leakage. So like, he's,
This is the man right here we're talking about. He's pretty smart.
yeah.
He knows what
Um
he's doing.
he knows what he's doing. He
He
knows
knows
what
what
he's
he's doing.
doing. Whether people like that or not, you just he knows what he's doing. So with that, I think again, he because the thing is he's also a fan. Like he
Hmm.
lets us see what we want to see. So then we have questions and we're more interested because that's what it is. It's like he's trying to, I guess, in a way, follow any publicity is good publicity. Where like we're gonna see all this. Okay, cool. Everybody's fucking talking about this. Like literally in every single like group I'm in, like Superman related and not, everyone's fucking. They still are talking about this. You have like the Snyder Bros that are like, oh, it looks like fucking dog shit. And then you have the Defenders that's like, no, it actually looks really great. Shut the fuck up. You still have that. And then you have like this comparison, like, oh, this, and this. They're analyzing the suit. What could this mean? What could that mean? So people are loving this right now. And then they see Mr. Terrific. They're like, holy fucking shit, look at Mr. Terrific. We finally get to see big screen Mr. Terrific. And then we see Lois Lane in the purple. Oh, just like the animated series that I used to watch as a kid. Oh, maybe I'm interested. Okay, cool. And then they see fucking the man in black. They're like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? Is this guy, Ultraman? Like they're fucking off with the multiverse guy and they're doing this. Is it gonna be Bizarro? Is it gonna be
Well,
Ulysses? Like, what's all this? So people are fucking getting into this. They are.
people are
I mean,
getting
the
into
fact
it.
that we
Yeah.
had like over a week's worth of content just talking about this shows that people are fucking into this. They are. I will say, love the smug James Gunn, but I also love Michaela Hoover in this picture. Very, very good angle, and really appreciate that. Thanks, James Gunn.
Uh-huh,
Anyway,
uh-huh. Yeah.
um, that's why he's so smug. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
so it's
He's
all
a
very
married man.
exciting.
He's
He's all very exciting.
yeah.
can't talk. It's all very exciting.
Uh-huh.
We're getting all this, and we're still analyzing, and I'm stoked for it. Whether it be crypto or no crypto, it's very
It's
exciting.
it's and then you also see, like, there's a shot here where, of course, you've got the dog, like, we're gonna, maybe we could just, just refer to him, colloquially, just crypto for now, like, until we know, for sure. Maybe we should just make an assumption, I don't know, because he's such a cute dog, like, and you see clearly, like, there's some sort of interaction there going on between Superman and which is, it's just, it gives you those iconic vibes. And I'm loving, yeah, like you said, the idea that we're gonna get something that is, like, gonna give away a major plot point. Unlikely that we're gonna get that out in the middle of a city. It's also the context in which things are happening, right? Because chances are that what they're filming here could be just in the first act of the movie, and it's, this is maybe our introduction to Superman in the film. It could also be something that happens in the third act, but we don't really know. Like, there's so many pieces that are still missing. And yeah,
Right.
James Gunn knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he is doing. By the way, in the live chat, Kyle was asking, like, Parasite is a villain that's not been talked about. I know we've had a bunch of comments asking about, whether we have a secondary villain in this movie. Who is Parasite, and, like, do you think that could be an option, or is this just, I mean, another? It's a good shout, but, like, what do you think about that as an idea?
That could also be kind of following what the Captain Atom thing
Hmm.
was. How he wants to, not like touch people, and so like the suit he's wearing would stop him from doing that. However, I'm gonna sidetrack. But Parasite, that's another good theory. I didn't even think of that, so thank you for that. I'm
Yeah.
also watching the chat. And the Watcher states that there's a rumor Gunn is giving Corenswet a new suit at the end of the film because of the fan backlash. Yeah, that's bullshit. That was started by a parody account. So don't worry about that. It was just that Tyrone Magnus reacted to it like an asshole, and now everyone thinks it's real, but it was from a parody account. So no need to worry about that. People are just dumb. That's all. They just want, to stir up controversy and all that. So don't believe that for a second. It came. I checked myself, and like all the tweets were like they were all jokes. It was from a parody account. So don't worry about that. He's not changing the suit because of fan backlash, because that would be dumb. So, because I know a lot of people that don't like the suit, but for the most part, people love this suit. Like I've seen a lot of people, they are loving this suit. They love the crest on the back. They like the blue. They like the trunks. Yeah, sure, you're gonna get people that aren't gonna like it, but some people like it's just like the one outside of the people that are still, sucking Henry Cavill's dick still. Like outside of those guys, we're talk about the people that are like the only thing I'm just worried about is like, well, the folds and how it's kind of loose looking. There's like that's the only thing I'm really worried about. It looks kind of like, awkward in that, but like for the most part, people are loving this suit. So I think it's just a little ridiculous. That's all. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's not true at all.
No, I mean, and it's unlikely. Like, even if they were to give him a new suit, chances are it's not going to be a situation where we're going to, get something that is so drastically different from the first. Especially something that, James Gunn knows that this would be something that would stir up all kinds of controversy if they were to go in that route. So it's highly unlikely they're going to do that. Now, the one other thing we got was this video from Cleveland.com's. Let me take a look at what's the name of this. Is it the same person from last week, like John Kuntz? I think he's been out there getting all these
Yeah.
things, all these pictures and videos for us. So let's dive into that a little bit. So, of course, basically a lot of what we've already been seeing, you see that in motion here. He's Superman saving the day. They're in the public square. Like you said, there's a fountain there, and these people are looking up at something, and then clearly something happens. Maybe like something
Mhm.
falls, and that's what Superman is saving. I think that big shadow that they're creating there is, of course, so they can get as much of the lighting practically as possible, because creating artificial shadow lighting is always a lot more difficult than to just doing it, on set. So you could clearly see what's going on here. James Gunn is directing traffic, and I like the scale in which this is happening. And like, if you start to put these pieces together with a lot of the other pieces, all of this could be just one sequence that is maybe 5-10 minutes of the movie. Like, what do you think about, like, I don't
Yeah.
think this is going to be the entirety of the film
Well,
film or it's probably just like, because because on movies this scale where they're shooting for months and months, they might be
Yeah,
shooting
seems
5 minutes worth of footage over the course of 2 weeks.
yeah,
What
like
ultimately becomes five
yeah,
minutes.
and then on top of that, you even have smaller scenes that don't have
Yeah,
like establishing shots, by a second unit director. So you have
exactly.
all that too. So it's like there's a lot, and this is a big project. This is the first
Yeah,
Superman film that's when it releases in 12 years. So it they a lot riding on this, and they want to make sure to get everything, and they that's how filmmaking is. It's like you set up a whole day for like one 5-minute scene. That's just how it is. Not usually with TV, although nowadays TV is very different from like where you had like a week to do an entire episode, like
right.
an entire 45-minute episode. Now it's because it's like 8 episodes, and essentially TV is becoming like long form
Like
movies.
film,
Yeah. So
essentially. Yeah.
what it is. Yeah. So that's it. Just filmmaking is a long, annoying, dubious process that's gonna take a fucking while. You got to, and then especially when you have something effects heavy like this, you have, it- as you were saying, multiple shots, different takes. You have like this. It might be for like a minute, like not even like it'll be like not even 10 minutes. Like that's just how it is. So with all the stuff we've seen, it's just little snippets here and there, and nothing major. But as James Gunn said, no spoilers. Calm down. It's gonna be okay.
It's gonna be all right, everybody. It's going to be okay. What was your favorite part of like the pictures that we saw today?
I love like him. Like that's just such a great shot right there. Like that's real perfect. Like that's that even the fact that it's like clearly filming, you have guys on stools, all that shit. Like it's just a perfect shot. Like the cape, the fucking
Yeah.
cape, the stance. It's just goddamn, it's perfect. Although I do love, I love seeing the dog there. That's cute too. Um, but yeah,
Well,
it's
and then
really
also then Kyle asked a question. What about like maybe a Supergirl cameo at the end? Because I know James Gunn was asked about this on social media, and he's like,
yeah.
I don't think I ever really said that was going to happen. But do you think that's gonna happen?
But thing is, I remember you mentioning that like it's a very weird process to not
Hmm.
have the director, who is now Craig Gillespie, pick the actress because he's gonna direct the Supergirl movie. It's weird for him that he didn't pick her, but you know what? You've also said many times that maybe they pick their directors, writers fucking years, months ago, and they're just telling everybody now. So it's entirely possible that Craig Gillespie did, in fact, choose her, like based off of James Gunn's advice. Like, hey, I always saw Millie Alcock as Supergirl, and he's like, okay, and then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna set it up myself because I'm the director, and then he sets it up, audition, callbacks, blah 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 blah, all this stuff, and he's like, you know what, she really is the best for the job, and picks her. But James Gunn makes that announcement because they don't want to know, they don't want to confirm the director just yet because of whatever reason, maybe contractual, maybe James Gunn wants to be dramatic, um but that's also entirely possible. But there's a lot of different factors of that, so it's entirely possible that behind the scenes, without us knowing, Gillespie did in fact pick Millie Alcock.
Yeah.
But then there's also the possibility that James Gunn picked her because he cast her in this movie, and we're gonna get a small cameo. So again, we'll see, but it can go both ways, but that's like something to keep in mind. Like, oh, did he pick her? But then that would be weird since he's not directing the movie. So who knows?
By the way, I have a couple of things here. Just Hunterigi sent us a photo to look at. We're gonna get into that, but before we do, I know we were talking about where's Nathan Fillion in all of that, right?
Hmm.
Well, guess what? I just came across this on X. So Nathan Fillion has been spotted on the set um, of the movie.
I love
the
that
set of
picture.
Superman.
It's like, yeah,
It's like, where is he? He's clearly being hidden away. Like, I mean, it's obviously it's hot out there, so like you got the umbrellas, but he's there. This is him. This is Guy Gardner. This is Nathan Fillion. The guys be I like the image here. It's like, oh, who is that? Is that him? Like, you just gotta look for that real hard. But you could tell, like, that's Nathan Fillion's jawline, that's his nose, that's his face, that's him. It's right there. And then also, I wanted to highlight this other image I found. I think you mentioned it last week that somebody had this Photoshop image going around.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I see your point that it does look pretty monotonous. I think that's why when they designed Superman suit for Man of Steel, they sort of did something different, because if you just give him the belt and no trunks, it does look off. Although, like, you could tell, like, the belt is a little bit lower. I don't know, but like, okay, we've had this conversation upside and down. So getting back into, like, the stuff from today, Hunter Iggy mentioned that there's like a girl that Superman saves on set, like, and there's apparently a picture of that going around.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for that, Hunter Iggy. Like, if you sent it to us, we don't know where you sent it. We're trying to find it, but and if we come across it, then we will definitely let you know.
Yeah.
But it's there's a lot of pictures going around. We're going to go through these that you see on screen right now because Cleveland.com has been posting about it. And by the way, yeah, the Watcher, we do hope that Supergirl gets the sword from Woman of Tomorrow, because those shots in the comic are pretty epic. So we'd love to see that. I'm just excited to see now that we finally have Nathan Fillion on set. My brain is like, all right, okay, so what's going to be, what are they shooting next? Like, what does this mean? And maybe Hawkgirl gets on set. Watcher, you mentioned that. Like, yes, maybe we're getting to the point of the movie now where they're going to start bringing some. We haven't seen Isabella Merced in Cleveland at all, so I don't know.
Not yet.
But it's possible. But like, you know what? Let's go through these pictures. Obviously, we just went through a bunch, but here's more. You can see here. I mean, it looks like he's just jumping, right? Like, it doesn't look like he's. So obviously, like in Man of Steel, they would do it like where Henry Cavill, like if you look at the behind the scenes, he would sort of just get ready to go, and then they would just probably replace him with a CG double. You can see here he does that superhero landing pose, or like the whole one on one knee, and then he goes like, and now you're starting to see his facial impressions. I'm sure they'll have like an insert on it at some point, the intensity and I mean, look, I see the trunks bunching up there as he's ready for liftoff. But anyway, I'll work past it. I'll work past it. What do you think about this so far?
Oh, I'm
The
loving this. This is just so dorky, and I love it. It's great. And the thing is, there is a bit of tightness here. Like, he's clearly in the middle of a shot, and we don't see that bagginess. I'm just
it's
saying.
the lining is perfect. It doesn't look that, and for a shot like this where you need it to be good, like they clearly have got it right. So I like it. Oh, Hunter Iggy said, I mean the picture of the girl, and do you think James Gunn will add her in the movie?
I think he's talking about the famous scene from All-Star Superman where the girl almost kills herself. So I don't think he's going to reference that scene specifically because it might be a little bit much. Don't get me wrong. It's a great scene, but it might be a little bit much. So I think he might adapt another scene. I mean, we did get the scene from All-Star Superman where he carries the bus of the cancer patients. Maybe we'll get a reference to Reagan, I think her name is. But I think it's just a little bit too heavy for,
you could shoot that scene on a soundstage. You don't need to be out in the city streets of Cleveland to do that. Like, why be it's rare that you shoot a scene where somebody's on top of a building, no less at the edge, and you're actually there. I mean, I saw the behind the scenes with Bad Boys movies where Martin Lawrence is letting his ass hang out because he's like, I can't die, Mike. And like, you can see like, well, when they shot it for real, his butt was actually not hanging out. But they had a lot of like, safety harnesses and nets so that even though they were on top of like a big high rise in Miami, it wasn't like Martin Lawrence was in any danger of falling off the edge. So even if they were to film something like that, I mean, that would be something spoilery. I think James Gunn would know that, so they probably wouldn't do it out in the open. And they could easily do that on a sound stage and replace the background with green screen or like with a volume set. So Hunter, a good shout. Hopefully we'll get it, but like it's also something like John said, it might not be in the first movie, and certainly it might not be towards the beginning of the film. Like you also need, because this Superman is still like a year or two Superman, so maybe you need him to sort of establish himself a little bit more before we get to that point, just from a storytelling standpoint. But there's more pictures. So like this is again part of that whole sequence. And now you can see like when he flexes with all the detailing of the costume, like you said, it's really tight. What I like is they're using a real cape here. Like in Man of Steel, you see a lot of the action sequences. And I mean, I know in some scenes they had a real cape on set, but a lot of them, they just had markers and they were just adding it in post. That, of course, is a decision on the part of the director and the VFX team. Here, it looks like they're doing it, physically and like, I mean, even if they remove it and replace it with the digital cape or digital, I mean, they're going to definitely have a digital body double once Superman is actually in the air. Like you're not, unless you're showing him up close. But I like that you're seeing a real cape on him rather than just like tracking markers, and they're going to add all that in post because it gives the actor something to work with, the tangibility, the weight of it, how it leans off your shoulders, how it affects your body movement, both where your feet are and where your hand is. It feels more authentic. And if they do choose to replace it in post, it gives the VFX artist a lot of good lighting reference, which is good, and movement reference as well. And of course, the cloth texture and how it interacts with the light, that's all very important. But just loving the cape, loving the red color. You can see the little light ball there. That's for the VFX artists, right? Like that's what they're going to use to see like how the light was bouncing off elements. And like you said, again, the suit is tight. This isn't a loose suit. So it's, like we were talking about, they will have many different versions of the suit on any given superhero movie, where when you need to do some action, you'll get something that's going to like, look the part for when you need to have it be tight. But there's going to be scenes where you're just going to be shooting inserts or like, like just medium shots just from the shoulder up. Like you don't need the full suit to be exactly that. I mean, these movies have budgets where they can have a dozen different suits and for different kinds of scenes, for the stunt doubles to use, for the main actor to use, for ease of movement on set. And yeah, of course, David Corenswet's looking, all cool as hell in the suit, of course. It's starting to grow on me, the details. I mean, I personally am okay with it because some of that detailing, especially on the arms, was also on the Man of Steel suit. That's almost like a holdover, right? Like it's kind of like it's almost like the Batman suit like has it usually. I mean, you're not getting like the spikes and anything like that, but I'm okay with that personally. What do you think?
I think it's just a bit much because I feel like just having it simplified would probably be better. So yeah, I think it's just a little bit much for me, but it doesn't kill the suit for me. I just think that I don't like the collar and the cape just looks weird. But outside of that, it's a good suit. I really like it. I really enjoy it. I like the vibrancy of the colors.
Yeah. What I also like is here you clearly on a sequence that is as big as the one they're shooting with a lot of background and extras. You've got a multicam setup. Like you've got multiple camera operators here moving about, and you've got them on wheels, of course, because I maybe following the dog running away from Superman or heading towards Superman. It just looks interesting. I mean, this also looks like a celebratory shot. Like whatever did happen, maybe this is when they watch Superman fly off into the air. Like maybe that's what it is. Like I like the guy's like, yes, thank you, Superman.
I like how the guy on the bottom left, not the old guy, but the one above him, kind of looks like Mark Normand. I know it's not him, but that would be really funny. Just like he has a cameo, just for whatever.
Just randomly. Yep. Oh, by the way, you can see in the description here from the photographer that they're cheering on a drone. So they're using like a drone flying in the air as reference for where Superman would be, so that their eye lines match up, which is really clever. I like that. That's a good detail to know, like the process of filmmaking, of course. I do appreciate that, they've got a lot of people here. I mean, what chances are, like, depending on how they're shooting this, they've got a certain amount of people on set that are real, but they might have they might have CGI, like, set extensions where they'll just add more fake people that are completely animated and just CG at some point. Because, for all the people we are seeing on a set this big, there's a drone in the air that they're looking at, by the way. For a set this big, what you still kind of lack for scale a little bit, because if you take 100 people and spread them out on on the public square in Cleveland, they won't look like that many people. But then you've got enough references there that you can duplicate things, you can add other CG elements, and it will mix and blend in so that you can have maybe a 500 or like at least twice as many as what you're seeing, and it will look like a much busier street than it actually is when they're shooting it on set. And that's very common. Like Christopher Nolan did that on the Batman movies. I mean, you see other directors, Ridley Scott recently did on the Napoleon film, where even when they had hundreds of people lined up on these battlefields, they would add like thousands of more in post-production, because you just can't do it at that scale in real life. Not only does it get costly, but it's just on the time, you don't have enough time in a day to get like to shoot multiple takes and wrangle like thousands of people. So
also the newest comment on the live chat from the watcher, I'm ready to see that bowl cut on Fillion. Love it, can't wait. I'm like, I wanna see that fucking bowl cut so badly. Like he's gonna look like such a fucking dork, and I love it.
Dude, I want to when they do the behind the scenes, I want to see James Gunn's reaction for the first time he turns around and there's Nathan Fillion with the bowl cut just walking out, and he's like, that's what I was waiting for. This is the reason I cast you for this movie, for that cut. And just as some good old ragging on set. But anyway, these are some pictures that we have seen before. Of course, they're moving, it seems like, crowds around different parts of the square. So whether it's different shots or they're doing different plates, that will all be composited together in post-production. So you can add up the people. I'm sure there's extras here who might be changing clothes and being put into different parts of the scenes. And that way you can kind of make it look like it's busier than it actually is. What I also like is like you can see a good diversity of, age, race, ethnicities, it's just gender. Like you're seeing people of all walks of life. And you can see at this shot, this is a great shot, where you can see just the scale at which this is being done. That fountain is where Superman is going to be saving the dog, and whatever's falling on top, but there's people spread out all over, and it just looks it looks big. Like clearly you could tell they've shut off like such a large area here, all the surrounding intersections. It's a big shoot, and this is Monday, and Cleveland's no small city. Like, so it's the scale of this shoot is big. They're not like in the middle of New York or Chicago, but Cleveland is not a small city by any means. Like, what do you think about just the scale at which these shots are being done? Like, they're not messing around. This movie is going to have a budget of like $200 million. This is big.
Yeah. I think I'm just stoked for everything. Like that's just like a good establishing shot right there. Like I love the look, how it like kind of, again, it feels new but not like totally, and then like, because again, I just didn't want fucking, oh look, it's New York, oh look, it's Chicago. It's just like, I know Ohio is like a meme, but like, I don't know, using Cleveland, it's like it's a weird city because it's not like, one of the major cities that people go to. So it's just like kind of weirder. And then Superman was born there as well. So there's like a nice like little like homage to that as well. So it's just like, I feel like, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's nice.
I like it. And also when you look at this caption at the bottom, right? So John Kuntz knows the things. I mean, I'm sure he's been doing research. He's looking at city permits for like, because so on the back end of how this shoots are done at any scale, really, when you're trying to shut down a public space like this, you have to go get permits from like the film office or like up for that state, for that city, and you have to, so that you can get the permit to be able to control that area, and like then people get redirected around to other streets and whatnot. So I'm sure this reporter he's done a fantastic job. I mean, we couldn't do a lot of what we're doing without John's help and all the images that he's provided. But it looks like he did some research, and he's probably been able to find that they're going to be doing this for 3 days. Like, they're going to be at the public square for 3 days. So guys, like, just strap in.
We're gonna keep you posted.
We're gonna keep you posted. There's gonna be more to come. I mean, and Nathan Fillion's on set. I mean, maybe he was there to just do some rehearsals today. Maybe
he's just again cock tease everybody, because that's what James Gunn loves to do. Maybe he's just like,
I wouldn't doubt it.
It would be funny if it was like he's just kind of in the background, like he's like posed as an extra, but like we find out like later on, and they're fucking covering his hair too. They're waiting for, he's gonna make us wait for that fucking bowl cut reveal too. So I think it would be cool. There was a I didn't realize this. I was, like, how YouTube shorts have like, oh, did you know about like this movie? Yeah, like, oh, that people constantly make fun of Marvel, how you put a hat and sunglasses on, nobody recognizes him. He's like, well, Jake Gyllenhaal did the same thing in Spider-Man Far From Home, and y'all didn't recognize him. So I'm thinking that maybe like they put Guy Gardner as like an extra, and he kind of he's seeing what's happening, and either he can't do anything because Green Lantern, they have the Guardians to worry about, and the Guardians are assholes, and they're like sticklers for like shit. So like, there's that. Or he like just doesn't want to. He just sees everything. He's like, oh, that's nice, and then just goes on his merry way because he's Guy Gardner and he doesn't give a fuck. So that would be really funny. Like if it's just Nathan Fillion in the background, just like of a shot, and we see it's like a reaction. Like, oh, you got this. You got this, buddy. And then like keep walking. I'd love that. That would be amazing. That's a very Guy Gardner thing to do.
It would be fun to see that. I mean, and I'm sure, like, again, like, because you don't get to do a ton of shots in a day like this because you're just doing many takes of a shot that big. And I'm sure they have even multiple cameras rolling. They may not get to those shots with Guy Gardner until tomorrow, which we'll find out when that happens. Because I'm sure, like, people, John will get those pictures out in Cleveland, and we'll take a look at them. But James Gunn, of course, posted, any day on set with the dog every day with the dog on set is a good day. And we had some of the cute. I mean, he has amazing dogs of his own and cats. It's also just a doggo that we got to see on set today was just the cutest little guy. Like, I was staring at this picture and I'm like, this is I'm starting to really like where this movie's going. Like, I really, really am. Like, this looks like that image right there, another sign of like they're on the right track. I love it. I absolutely love it. And and of course James Gunn loves dogs, and he's a big cat and dog person, so I'm sure he's enjoying his time on set today with the dogs running around. It's I mean, it's almost, and it's a real dog. It's not like an animal. It's not like when they animated like 100 cats. I get it for the sake of like you can't control 100 different cats, but in the Marvels, or was it in the recent Marvels movie, and Marvel when they're like on the space station, there's like 100 animated cats. Have at least a few real ones, but like if he did the real ones, then the animated ones would look even more animated. But anyway, I digress. I'm trying to say I like seeing real animals on set and not CG ones.
Yeah, and now what was that? What, Call of the Wild with the Harrison Ford. Oh, yeah. Oh no. Please, God, for the love of God, no.
Nope. No, don't want to see that. There's also was a rumor going about last week, and James Gunn pretty much squashed it, of the idea that is this movie taking place in 2021. I don't know why 2021 was specifically the question, but James Gunn said, like he said, it's not the 1970s, it's not 2021. I mean, he didn't say when, but it seemed like they're going for maybe a little bit more of a timeless feel, unlike in Avengers where they're like, oh, 5 years later is 2023. Like, here it seems like it's just present day. That's about as about as close we're gonna get to the time.
They're filming something. They have
exactly.
They have iPhones, so it's like clearly it's at the very least post 2007.
Right.
So it's I don't know what 20. Maybe it's just like someone manufacturing shit. Like 2020. Like, why would it be fucking 20? It makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think that's a good shot there. But hey, ultimately, we're gonna dive into these pictures as they come in. It looks like they're gonna be, as it says in this post right here from John Kuntz and Cleveland.com, whose pictures are the reason why you're able to talk about them. So thanks again to John Kuntz from Cleveland.com. They're going to be shooting in the public square for 3 days. So get ready. I think the only reason why they're not shooting there on July 4th is because it's freaking July 4th. So like they will probably take the day off. By the way, Watcher keeps pitching the idea of these Lex bots that they maybe drop in the middle of Metropolis and Guy Gardner shows up and says, kiss the ring. That's a good theory. I don't know, John, if that's exactly how that's gonna play out, but
I don't
that's a
know.
good theory. Um, maybe in some other. I doubt we're gonna get to Lex bots this early because that would mean Lex has already sort of gone off the cliff. I would like to see a Lex Luthor that maybe you see kind of his progression into madness over the course of a movie or multiple films, rather than just starting him out as evil bald guy. Like I don't like that. I think that's where I like the Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor a little bit more, where they like you kind of give him a bit of an origin story. The portrayal you may not agree with, but I kind of liked where they were going with it anyway. Um, but yeah, that's not the only piece of news that we have got today, guys. So of course, that's all the Superman related content. As we get more, we will get into more of it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have other DC news going on today. We definitely want to dive into that. And speaking of other DC news, John, I know you have been excited for this for a very long time. Like you really have been wanting to see this show. So here we are, the Harley Quinn
Let's
spinoff,
fucking
Kite Man.
go.
Hell yeah! It
Let's
gets a premiere
fucking
date on
go.
Max. So July
Yeah.
18th is the day. July 18th is when the show is going to start airing. What are your thoughts
I'm
on the
stoked.
date?
I'm so fucking
It's
stoked. Like I'm fucking ready. My body is ready. Like Batman Cape Crusader, fuck that. Give me Kite Man. I want to see Kite Man. After they fucked him over on Harley Quinn, they fucked my boy Chuck Brown over on that fucking show. And they are hopefully with this, they are trying to fix their fucking mistake because if you watch the trailer, like him and Golden Glider, they're already a fucking power couple. Let's fucking go. And like they know they fucked up with the development with Kite Man and Ivy because that was like one of the best things about season 2, and then they shit the bed at the end because it's like, oh, Ivy has to be with Harley, and it's like, God fucking shoot me. But like
yeah,
but like and I don't hate it for the reason you think. I don't care that they're women, blah blah blah, lesbians. That's totally fine. It's just the problem I had with season 2, with Ivy and Kite Man. The thing I had was like Ivy and Kite Man. The reason that they worked so well is because they developed through one another. Like Ivy and to a lesser extent Kite Man like became better people. Like Ivy was developing with him and they helped each other. It was like a mutual beneficiary development sort of thing going on. And that's what I love so much. Like they were like Ivy was like embarrassed for him, but then she learns like, oh, to not be, embarrassed because she's dating Kite Man. And Kite Man kind of learns that like, okay, well, I can't keep like thinking of me. I have to think of her as well. Like, what are her needs and her feelings as well? So it's like, and then they develop because of that. And then all of that was thrown out the window because people want to see Harley and Ivy together,
yeah,
which I mean, I get, but it's like, don't give us this really great plot point and then totally screw us over in the end just for this fan favorite thing that's just yet another abusive relationship anyway. So, I think, and that's the major thing I didn't like. That's why I stopped watching the show because I'm like, they threw out that really great development, and I
right.
really didn't like that. But with
I mean, but
Kite Man was
yeah,
he was just like this wholesome kind of dude. He wasn't a douche, but like he's just kind of like he's
yeah,
Kite Man. Like and somehow he became the best character on that show. So they knew they fucked up, and so they gave him Golden Glider, who like
yeah,
completely adores him no matter what. And then Kite Man's just being awesome. He's just being Kite Man. And then we're seeing all these fan favorite. We see Bane again, who was in Harley Quinn. We see Darkseid again. We see a whole bunch of fan favorite characters, and I'm stoked for it. Like I want my boy Kite Man to just, I just want to see him on top again. Hell
yeah.
yeah. I'm so fucking stoked. Let's go. I'm goddamn, I love Kite Man so much. I love this version of Kite Man. And it's
Talking about
great.
getting
Like, and then you
respected.
have
Come
Keith
on.
David as Darkseid. That's just awesome. Like, hell yeah. Again, hell
Dude,
yeah.
and they have to censor the trailer like because this is going. Okay,
Yeah, fucking
sorry.
ridiculous.
That's very fun. They put the ass
They put the ass in
in bad
badass.
ass. I love it. The marketing here is great. It's
And
and
then
they
we
got
got
Polka
Polka
Dot
Dot
Man.
Man. I know
Yeah,
it's
Polka
not
Dot
David
Man.
Dastmalchian, but it's, you know,
Yeah,
we got Polka Dot Man.
that's awesome. I love this.
We got
Oh, you
Man
got
Bat. We
Two-Face,
got Two
Man
Face.
Bat.
Boom. We got Sugar and Spice from the Batman Forever. Hell yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're right. This is great. I love this. I'm just smiling year to year. Literally, I'm sure you can see it. It's just,
Like Batman
yeah,
Cape Crusader, honestly, like that can kind of go suck a dick, not gonna lie. Like I'm Kite Man is like what I'm like, that's the animated show in 2024 DC that I'm the most excited for, even more so than Creature Commandos, because like Creature Commandos I was excited for, and then they're like, oh, it's Amanda Waller's Black Ops Squad. It's like, oh my god, fucking kill me. Can we just keep I'm gonna eventually, like, I'm at this point I'm gonna hate Amanda Waller just as much as I hate Harley Quinn, like in the coming years. Like if they fucking keep pushing Amanda Waller on us, I'm gonna beat somebody's ass. Like, just I get it, like she's like but like you can have other fucking characters like that. She's not the be all end all.
dude. Yeah,
So but
I
like
do
so
think
I'm
they're
excited for Kite Man.
overexposing that character a little bit,
Yeah.
like Harley Quinn. I agree with you there.
But like I'm he's like, this is this is, reminds me of my favorite color, Arnold Lee Trevino. A round of Lee Trevinos for everybody. Like it just, oh god. Can like Keith David just get an
Dude,
award for existing? Like please, like he just like, and
dude.
ah
By the
goddamn.
by the way, I hope they also have characters like the Question and like some more of those lesser known ones, both in here and live action DCU. Like the Watcher wants to see
Oh
them as
yeah.
well, and I would love to see that. I mean, and just that image with Darkseid and Kite Man, I'm like, that's see, this is what I like about DC today is like we can get Superman, we can get the Batman and the Penguin, Joker, Folia do, but we can still
Mhm.
have Kite Man. Like it's just you getting, unlike Marvel, where it seems like it's you just don't get that variety. And it's like even with Fantastic Four, they're saying it's going to take place in the sixth season, another universe. I mean, like ultimately, this is going to all tie together because of the whole Secret Wars thing. Like here, DC is really allowing these stories to exist in their own worlds, and that's okay. That's completely okay. James
Yeah.
Gunn has also said that the new DCU's, stories are going to be interconnected, but yet they're going to be standalone, which is what was the best part about the early days of the MCU, because all of those stories, they stood by themselves, but like they're also connected and told a larger narrative. So I love that. Now,
Mhm.
there's one more thing we need to get into. Actually, a couple of more things, but this is the next one. So there were these rumors that Robert Pattinson's Batman is going
Yeah.
to feature at some point along the way in the Penguin series that's coming out later
Yeah.
this year. So tell us a little bit more about where this rumor is coming from. How much should we really even believe it, and where in the show you might even see him? And what do you think he's going to be Bruce Wayne or he's going to be Batman?
That's another good question. So Jeff Snyder, who's usually a good Hollywood insider, who's usually pretty good with his information. Not all of them hit, but he's usually right. So, and I feel like it just makes sense to have him in there at least once in an
Right.
episode. It just makes sense because it takes place a week after the Batman. So at this point, Gotham is still flooded, and you
Yeah.
know, Carmine Falcone's dead.
Yep.
Spoiler alert, he's dead, and
Yeah.
so there's going to be a power vacuum, and Penguin is trying to fill that power vacuum and take advantage of the fact, oh, there goes Michael Kelly again, and so he's gonna probably, you know,
And
take
sure, Egg
advantage
Dash
of
too. Yeah.
take advantage. Clancy Brown, another
Yeah.
gem of a human
Dude, the
being.
cast for this
um
show is top notch. They did
oh yeah.
not spare expenses. They did not take
Oh
spare
yeah.
expense. Yeah, the whole Jurassic
So
World.
I'm
Yeah,
curious with how the flooding is gonna work here, because
you're right.
that's an interesting concept to have
Right.
Gotham be flooded. So there's that. So it just kind of makes sense. Like at some point, Batman will show up. Like in the
Right.
first episode, I could only imagine it's like a scene maybe towards the beginning or towards the end of the episode where he's just like, "Hey, Oswald, you better not," and then like that's it, that's all we see of him. But or we like see him at the end and he's like arresting somebody. Maybe he like tries to arrest Cobblepot, but like it doesn't work, and there's like a fall guy, and so he takes a fall, and then Batman like comes in to stop him and then arrest him. Or because like it makes sense, like Batman would be like, ooh, you get to whet your whistle a bit. Okay, we got Batman. Here's Batman, but now the rest is about Penguin. Okay, cool. Or we have Penguin, and then boom, climax, we get to see the Batman. Boom. So I feel like at the very beginning or at the very end would make the most sense. Or, as you mentioned, it would be an interesting twist of fate to have him somewhere in the middle, and it's Bruce Wayne. So it's not technically Batman, but it's Bruce Wayne.
Right.
Oz is at a party.
Yeah.
He's like trying to be in with the elites and all that, and like trying to get backers and like be with these guys, like make black market deals and all that shit. And then he sees like Bruce Wayne. Hey Bruce, how you fucking doing, you fucking scumbag? And then just like something like that. So that I could also see. So all of those are likely. Which one we don't know, but I feel like it just makes sense that Bruce Wayne or Batman would show up at some point. Like, you can't afford him the whole time, so you get him for a cameo, and then he moves on. He is, I don't know if it's still filming right now, but Robert Pattinson was at least filming Mickey 17, and they have gone through a bunch of reshoots. So I don't know if that like impeded on it, because I don't know when this was being filmed. When those set photos were released, that was like a couple months back.
Yeah, I think for the most part they might be done filming this. What I do love, by the way, is this new trailer that they dropped, and I'm like, dude, I don't know. I think you weren't impressed with the first one.
Yeah,
but the second trailer, dude, it's like they really build up the tension, and also they're really teasing this romance, which seems very much like they're both after their own goals. Where like Christian Miliotti's character, what's the name? Is Falcone's daughter, right?
I think it's Sophia Falcone.
And then Sophia Falcone and Oswald Cobblepot. You could tell clearly that they're both conniving to get a piece of this empire that's been left behind with Falcone's death. And so they both have their own reasons, but it's sort of like they see each other as, like, hey, we're both trying to accomplish similar things, and we can use each other to our purpose. And it's really that dynamic is teased in a way that the first trailer really didn't, where the first trailer was really about the Penguin. This one really gives you a sense of like what is going to be happening in
what the story
show.
is, how,
and you also see the son
characters are and all that. Yeah,
exactly. Like, dude, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready for this. This is HBO level shit. Like, it's just at this point, like, if you guys have not seen this, like, go on the Max YouTube channel, you go on Twitter. This kid right here, you could really start to see that as this trailer goes on, that Penguin is starting to groom him. He's like, you know what? Nobody's going to give shit to you in this world. You just got to go and fight for it. Meanwhile, of course, Penguin is keep being told like, hey, man, you work for the family. Know your place. Stay there. Do as you're told. And you could clearly see that he's like, nah, man, I'm going to go and get my piece of the pie and then some. And Carmen and Falcone's daughter is kind of a similar situation where, the senior leadership is telling them that, hey, you can't really do this. You have a place, and she wants more. So it's just you're getting those vibes. It's like The Sopranos almost. Like you mentioned, it could come across as a poor man's Soprano, but
or just something like a little bit kind of repetitive. Like,
I get
kind of
that.
seen this before. Let's see how. I
mean,
I'm still not.
Batman.
Yeah, like, I'm still not like. I'm not hating on it. It's just like the trailer didn't impress me. Hopefully this one will. Although, go back a bit to Miliotti or whatever her name is. Definitely has Winona Ryder from Beetlejuice vibes right there. So Lydia Dietz, anybody? Hello. But yeah, outside of that, like I gotta watch a trailer. Maybe it'll impress me this time, but like I just want something a little bit more unique than just, oh, we're seeing Batman's The Sopranos or Batman's The Wire or that kind of thing. So I just want it to be a little bit more unique, a little bit more interesting. Yeah. So we'll see.
I don't
want to hate it,
No, dude, the show is gonna be. I can tell you, this is gonna be. I just watching the trailer. I was just at the second trailer is way better than the first. If you guys have not seen this, right there. Never underestimate him. Just go check this trailer out. Like it looks fantastic. We know it's coming this September, and of course now we know Snyder has not been wrong about this in a lot of situations. So Robert Pattinson probably will show up, and like you said, John, it's either going to be at the very beginning or towards the very end, which makes the most sense. And especially in terms of how they're going to tie it into the next thing, which is the Batman Part 2.
2 years
by the
from
way,
now.
yep. And then the Watcher had a theory. He said that his theory was Pattinson maybe shows up, foils Penguin at the end of the show, which sets up an arc for them in the second movie with Penguin being like the primary villain.
I know you have that theory, so I wouldn't mind seeing that. But the thing is, I want to see somebody new. If we're getting Batman 2 in Batman Part 2, I want to see, like we saw Oz in a subplot. He's getting his own fucking show. I want to see somebody new. Like the thing is, we've gotten in terms of Penguins, we've gotten Burgess Meredith, we've gotten Danny DeVito, and now we're getting Colin Farrell. Can we please, for the love of God, get somebody new? Like give us somebody we haven't seen before. Like I wouldn't mind seeing Court of Owls. I like there was a really good one where Hugo Strange would be amazing, played by Giancarlo Esposito, but he fucking kowtowed to Marvel, and he's gonna be in that shitty Captain America movie. So you know, who knows? But Mr. Freeze, like I know he's been done before, but like this time good. Chill. And then you know, like just give us somebody or Clayface. I wouldn't mind seeing Clayface. I know that goes against like the Matt Reeves style, but maybe they can go a little bit more fantastical with the sequel, hopefully. Went down the wrong pipe. Sorry.
By the way, I love the mug. This resting bitch face that Penguin has.
That would be a really good. That would be a good. I know. I don't know how. Like James Gunn works, like the smug James Gunn, but like because he's like in charge of the DCU, he's in charge of a universe. I don't know how you would use this, but Photoshop this onto thing, and it's just like when we're just both unimpressed with something, and it's just like resting bitch face Penguin, just like the fuck did you just bring me? The fuck is this shit? Like that would be perfect. That would be really funny.
Yeah, I love it. It's just,
but I also love Clancy Brown. Go back to Clancy Brown, just like fucking ready to fucking murder somebody. That was a good. That was he's like he. I'm like there is so much anger in that dude's face. He's like he's like there is nothing more I want than to fucking murder this guy in front of me. Like just Clancy Brown. He is just another class act. He is just so fucking brilliant in every sense of the word. So I'm excited. I'm excited for him, most definitely. Probably him the most. Like I know Colin Farrell's great, but I love Clancy Brown so much. Like he is so.
I mean, for me, is I don't know how much he's gonna figure into the story. Like I think Clancy Brown is all time. Christian Miliotti's
even just for a little bit, even for a little bit.
Like, and
that's cool.
And who knows. Dude, I wouldn't be surprised if he like somehow ends up outside of prison by the end of the show, and that figures into the next movie. But I want to see like the character drama here. I think whatever dynamic the Penguin and Sophia Falcone are gonna have, that to me looks exciting because it's one of those things where clearly they're both very ambitious people after success and power in their own ways, and you could tell that their paths are sort of intertwined, but ultimately probably they're gonna end up being enemies, and who comes out on top. I know the show's called The Penguin, but you don't just cast Christian Milioti because you're just like, we're just gonna bring you in for 8 episodes. Like she may be a bigger part of this picture, especially going into the second movie. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna play out. Also, like you said, the Penguin, they could just say, you don't have to give him the primary antagonist role in the second movie. You could just wait until maybe even the third or fourth movie, or maybe give him a second, season of the show. Like I know so far it's been pitched as a mini series, but it doesn't have to be. So I'm into it. But the Watcher's like, you talking to me? You talking to me? Yes. I mean, I hope we get something like that at some point with Colin Farrell's resting bitch face. You talking to me? I don't know. I'm into it. I love it. All right. Well, before we end the show, as we always do, we like to get into some fan comments. So there was one fan comment that really stood out to me. It's such a packed show today, so I didn't want to get into a ton of them. We do have them saved up, and we will get into more of them tomorrow. But there's one fan comment I want to get into today, John, and that's the one we got on one of the. I think this is from the Friday show, and my getaway art left a comment saying, "I mean, that's quite evidently a cod piece," and I'm sure you know what that commenter is referring to. It's of course, you know. It's David Corenswet's junk. It's David Corenswet is definitely wearing some sort of a cod piece there. But that comment sort of sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole, right? Because I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I think I know what a cod piece is. And then I did a Google search and so here's the story.
Hopefully,
right? I started typing in cod piece into Google and literally it comes up with and it says, oh, cod piece DC. And I'm like, wait, cod piece DC. Either Google is reading my mind or there's something here that I don't know about. So then I did a bit of research and I came up with oh shit, there's a whole character from the Doom Patrol comics, and I went down this whole rabbit hole for hours, and here we are. So my getaway art, thanks for leaving us with this fantastic comment, because we get to talk to you about this character from the Doom Patrol comics. John, have you read into this at all? Do you know who Codpiece is?
I'm not as familiar with Doom Patrol as I am. I mean, I know the show and I know some of that there, but I don't know a ton about them. But yeah, that seems very Doom Patrol.
Okay. Dude, all right. I'm just gonna read this out because it's too funny to just not do that. All right, here we go. So he was told that he wasn't big enough in high school, and though the girl said it meant his height, he thought she meant his penis. Due to an inferiority complex about the size of his wiener, he created a suit with a codpiece weapon system and became a supervillain. This is such a comic book thing. He primarily robbed banks and of course he eventually gets stopped when Coagula, who was wearing a frog. The names are amazing. The names are amazing. I love it. So she stops him, and then that she gets recruited into the Doom Patrol team. But here's a character design.
I will say, I hope it was sperm banks. That would be really funny if a guy named Codpiece with a mechanical gun for a dick robbed sperm banks. I don't know why he would rob them, but it just would make sense.
So somehow we have managed to make the connection between Superman's codpiece and a character from the comics, and now I definitely want to see that character brought to life, because
I could definitely see James Gunn doing that perfectly.
Why would you not do that?
Most definitely.
Dude, just the fact that they have that sequence in Peacemaker where there's John Cena tucks away his gun in between his pants, kind of and then he's competing with Vigilante for target practice. I can tell you right now, James Gunn knows this character exists. So it's probably only a matter of time that Codpiece makes it to our screens in some manner of form, whether it's in a reboot of a Doom Patrol show or whether it's in Peacemaker or some other form. I want to see that. So we'll see. I mean, hey, but back to just finish things up here. The money shot of the day was from Superman, of course. That's what we came here to talk about. So, but thanks again, my getaway art, for leaving that comment. We love it. We love talking about, things like Codpiece. Who knew that was a thing? Apparently it is a character, and hopefully we'll get him one day. But hey, Krypto, is that Krypto? Tell us in the comments. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Let us know in the live chat. Of course, you've been leaving a lot of your comments down there. Watcher Kyle stopped by, Fiona, thanks for watching. Of course, Hunter Iggy, as always, he's been interacting with us on X. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Threads, we're on Instagram. You can find us even on Twitch. We're everywhere, guys. So reach out and interact with us. Hit the like button. We would really appreciate that, because that really helps us out. And of course, you can always, subscribe if you haven't already, because that way you will know when new videos are coming out. Hit the notification bell. That will let you know when we got new content coming out. This right here, of course, is the money shot of the day. Sorry, bank, Codpiece on the mind. But anyway, John, it's been a great show.
Mhm.
What was your favorite part of
Kite
the show
Man.
today?
Kite
Kite
Man.
Man? Yeah,
Kite Man. Let's go. Fucking Kite
agree.
Man. Hell yeah. Let's fucking go.
Kite Man, I agree. Well, I can't wait to see Kite Man interact with Darkseid in that show. All right. Well, guys, as always, go out there, watch something DC related if you want. Looking for these pictures, like the Superman picture we were talking about earlier, more behind the scenes looks. It's on cleveland.com. Go check that out. John Kuhn's doing a fantastic job of getting us behind the scenes photos. Remember, he does also say in the article that they're shooting in the public square in Cleveland for the next 3 days, including today. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So the next couple of days, we will talk about all, and we'll show, and we'll speculate, we will theorize, we will do all of the analysis around any new photos from the behind the scenes. Maybe Nathan Fillion finally shows up with a bowl cut. Maybe we see Hawk Girl. Maybe we'll see more Lex Luthor. Who else is going to be out there? We'll find out. We'll get into it. And until tomorrow, John, as always, it's been a pleasure, and we hope to see you back here on DCU Daily. So, guys, pod peace.